welcome to this episode of Golem, everybody. Hi.
Golem.
Shit, I was gonna be the first one.
Oh, that was
I
beautiful.
fucking got
I
him.
could not ask for better. Let that be stuck in your heads, everybody, forever and ever. That is what I curse you with. Golem, golem, golem.
So sweet. So kind.
So kind. What a way to welcome in our VOD watchers, our podcast listeners, and, you know, just I curse you with getting things stuck in your head. If you're just joining us now, please note that we're in chaos mode tonight, and that's okay. You're in for, just buckle in. Just come on and enjoy the ride. It's gonna be great. We want to start things off with some announcements. I'm going to repeat the one from last time. If you are interested, we do have some new merch in the somatic components of friendship merch. So you can go check that out at club.wafflesMapleSyrup.com. I like it. I need to make a hat. I'll make a hat per request because Waffles wants a hat, and so we're gonna make that happen. But always check it out because I think there's some cool designs there that I made. Ooh woo.
Can I make an announcement?
Yeah, absolutely.
Come tomorrow. We just streamed the Starfinder Galaxy Guide review, and come tomorrow it will be live on YouTube for those who did not get to catch it.
Yes, thank you. We did. Oh, you know what? I want to do a quick little shout out right before we get to our sponsors here.
Oh gosh.
I'm actually gonna do this. Hold on. Take myself off push to talk, so I have two hands available for me. So I want to shout out to Paizo for this absolute haul that we had waiting for us in our mailbox. So thank you so much. I'm so excited. Physical copies are very, very, very pleasant for my ADHD brain. So this is all the stuff that we've been reviewing recently. So we do this on the side outside of Golem if you like. If you're interested in more Pathfinder or Starfinder content, like Waffles just said, we just finished doing the Galaxy Guide review, which we do live, and then we're going to put on YouTube. So thanks, Paizo, for the love. We really appreciate it. All right, let me toss it over to the sponsors. Instead of me talking for once, Jacob.
You know, appreciate that, Syrup. You know, speaking of you, Syrup, sometimes you have to worry about dirty laundry and missing suitcases due to ADHD. But you know who doesn't have to worry about either of those things? Our sponsor for tonight. Our sponsor, the Pocket Bard. Pocket Bard handles all of our music and our soundscapes, and they have immersive audio made simple. So that way, you know, Izzy's over there doing awesome gym work and has all these things and math and all this stuff that he has to be thinking about. But you know what he doesn't have to think about? Look at this beautiful music we're hearing right now.
Just listen to it.
Look right
Just
at
a
it.
click of a button. Just look at it. Yeah, it's immersive.
Look
it's
right at
magic. It's awesome.
Look right at that music.
Look at it.
Look
Right
right
at
into
that
your
music.
ears.
Into your ears. Indeed. Thank you, Pocket Bard. Thank you, Wilhelm Scream, for sponsoring the show.
For the record, that was not the Wilhelm scream.
It was not.
No, this is
And that
Pocket
almost
Bard.
sounded like a bad time to tune in, but it wasn't, was it? Amazing. Jacob, that was brilliant, and I don't know. I think I'm just gonna let you do our sponsors because I can't top that.
I'm always ready.
I will.
You're not going to give the rest of us an opportunity to
No,
top
we
that?
will. We will.
Don't get to
We'll
us.
calm
fired,
down every
don't.
once in a while. See the chaos and what comes. But secondly, I also want to give a shout out to Moonbeam. Moonbeam is an innovative new streaming platform, y'all. But it's more than a streaming platform. It's like if Discord and Twitch had a baby, to be honest. It's really, really interesting and new, and I'm really excited for everything they have planned. They're doing things for the creator, as opposed to, you know, screwing the creator over. Sorry, something was in my throat there. I didn't mean to. And anyways, I really think they're doing something amazing over there. So go on, check it out. There's a lot of people streaming there over there right now. I can put words in the correct order. And I think it would be awesome if we also had some more viewers and everything. So go check it out, see what we're doing over there, and maybe jump on the train while it's hot and fresh and in beta. All right, that is it for Moonbeam. Anybody else have anything just fun they want to say before we get back in? So it's just, you know, do you want to maybe play some Golem?
Golem.
Yalla, let's play Golem. Let's do it. Woo!
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so last we left off, you all finished the games of Luck, Effort, and Mind that were hosted in our little town of Roga. You were pulled up on stage. Crowd cheered to the heroes of the day, though some opposed to being called heroes quite just yet. When it was revealed that perhaps there was more to this, there was a story told by Mel to the crowd where you all were requested to go on a journey for the town to repair some solar panels and get some things that were needed. But after this, you were pulled aside by Mel and told that in reality, there was just some concern off to the edge of her, basically radar, her sense that she has that extends a certain, mileage past the town, past where she is, so past Roga. And she's asking for your help in investigating what may be the cause of this concern. It just feels, the word that kind of comes to mind is unnatural. Before you were able to finish this conversation, you were interrupted by a concerned attendant who informed you all that Beryn, Lenora's favorite person, Beryn, ran off out of shame for being caught cheating in the games. And of course, this means that you had to go and rescue him. So off you went, following after Beryn, even though it was getting dark, and into the woods for the very first time you all have gone. And you found some things that were attacking Beryn. You killed them. Great. Well done. Literally nothing went wrong. Oh, Beryn passed out. Oh, well. But no, truly, as everything wound down, our very own Fitz went forward to you, kind of help try to heal. And something interesting and new happened as he went to heal Beryn with his cybernetic arm. And that's basically where we left off and where we'll pick right back into so we're in the woods and Beryn's unconscious right now. Gerran is bleeding out a little bit, not looking great.
It's because your names rhyme.
Yeah.
Beryn and Gerran.
There can be only one.
I stabbed Beryn 3 times.
Done. Great. Glad that problem's over.
You're welcome,
Lenora
Lenora.
looks on and her eyes get bigger and she just goes, yes.
Gerran will kind of stumble over towards Beryn's unconscious form. I think, if I recall correctly, I think as you mentioned, someone was helping him as well.
Yeah, Fitz kind of. So Beryn, I think technically was dying, in the dying condition. Fitz did some lay on hands, with some new magic kind of showed up for the first time in doing so, and it seems that he has been stabilized now.
And I actually remembered, it just dawned on me actually a couple of days ago that that Pinto he hitched a ride, so he was on your shoulder. Now I'm not sure which shoulder he was on, but
let's say right shoulder, since I would probably keep better care of my organic body parts.
For sure. Are you okay, Fitz?
Oh, yes. I am feeling maybe a little tired and sweaty, but the glowing coming from the arm is something that happens every now and then. I haven't really been able to figure it out, but I'm working on it. Do you have any ideas?
Muted.
You gotta push the button, my guy. Still gotta push the button. Different button.
I try clicking on a different try to click on a different application, and that might help. Or just take off push to talk. It's fine.
Or take off push to talk and
It's
figure
all
it out
good.
later.
Technical difficulties. What would a stream be without some technical difficulties?
I did have a realistic question. I had a logistical question. Hero points, do they reset every game, or as you earn them, you're able to hold them?
So very good question. So hero points, you can have a max of 3. Now, what we typically do is that you get one every session, unless we're in the middle of combat. If we're like, halfway through a combat session, they're not going to refresh. So the thing is that if you had one hero point from last session, that it was the free session hero point, you're not going to get another one. So you would, if you had 0, you would have 1, but Fitz, you got one from a chat, so you have 2. Gerran, you probably also have 2.
I understand, because I had one from the session prior. I didn't get one from that session, so I have 2 instead of 3.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No go. Oh no.
Boogie check. Oh no.
Have you unplugged it and plugged it back in?
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. 2 Fits.
I can do something in the meantime, but
yeah.
Gerran will kind of sort of limp over towards Fitz. This is going to be okay.
It seems like he has a heartbeat, however faint. As long as the journey back is not too tumultuous, it seems like he will be fine. I know
Good.
that is rather unpleasant for a quarter of our compatriots, but unfortunately, this is the task we were handed.
No, that's fair. And plus, I was just making sure, because I'd rather not all the effort be in vain,
Fitz will lay his hand on Gerran's shoulder and use his next spell slot or action point or whatever you call it to do. Am I allowed to do lay on hands again?
Is there any kind of
sort of situation?
I am fairly certain lay on hands is a focus spell.
Then fantastic. I will use my focus.
Do you have
spell.
So you have separate a pool of focus points?
Yes, I have 2 focus points. This would
Sexy.
be 2 of 2.
Gorgeous. Focus points, though, also just for reference, are you just can spend 10 minutes refocusing, and you get those back.
Outstanding. Sorry, I really need to memorize what my role is for lay on hands.
I think it's a 1d8, but I'm just guessing.
Then let's go with.
Can you hear me any better now?
Yes.
We can hear you now,
Welcome
baby.
Back.
I'm sorry. Oh, thank God. Whew. So yeah, as I was saying, Fitz, that was really something else. I think I'm going to need to check it out a few more times before I could say anything definitive. But that was really cool.
And when you say a few more times, that's probably about when Fitz turns over to Gerran to do a second lay on hands, so you get to watch.
If you can do whoa. Okay,
So
I pull out my notebook. I start scribbling. I'm kind of studying the servos. Do I notice any difference in how his arm typically works? I would imagine this is something over the years, Fitz, that you and I've talked about, and not that I've come to any sort of answers as to the science behind your arm.
So for sure, what you're seeing right now is not something anybody has seen before. Fitz, you have told, let me ask, I suppose, what exactly have you told Pinto of your, and I will quote unquote, arm acting up?
Yeah, I think the extent that Fitz wouldn't feel comfortable sharing anything he didn't really understand about himself with other people, given how the last time that happened, he ended up kind of deserted and ostracized for a few years. So I think with that in mind, he would just say that it's acting weird or it sparks up, but never really would talk about it in such a detail like this, such that I think this is honestly the first few times that this is actively happening to someone other than himself.
truly the second time on Gerran that this specific event has ever occurred. So, looking at this, Pinto, what is your instinct? It's magic. It's very clearly magic. Whatever is happening is magic. You want to do a little check for me?
Yeah, I think I'd want to make an investigation check, and I think my Pinto's emotional intelligence is high enough that he would know not to pry this. This is clearly something that Fitz is very, sensitive about, and so he's never pushed on it. However, he probably has just kind of it's such a mystery and such an unknown. Pinto loves a good puzzle, so I would imagine he's thought about it plenty.
So
but he certainly doesn't ask you about it, Fitz, or
what I would ask of you then is to make me an Arcana check. I think that's the direction that Pinto's looking at magic.
Okay. All right. I got a +7 to Arcana. I got a 19, 26.
26.
Nice.
You're investigating this. So, as this is happening and you're like staring at the magic, you're taking some notes down. Gerran, you've been healed. I think 6 hit points, correct? Lenora, we're all kind of crowded around Beryn's body right now. What are you doing?
Seething.
Stabbing him.
She knows that the mission is bring him back as unharmed as possible, but she is pretty resentful right now that she had to come all this way and get her ass kicked by a plant to save him.
Yeah.
And she's just wondering, like, what is the point? Like, what the net positive is not enough to warrant this, she feels like. And
so
she's kind of keeping to the side.
Okay, so you're keeping to the side, and is there apparent dissatisfaction on your face? Like, can the rest of the crew kind of see?
To the extent that you can read her face at all.
Right. Okay, that sounds good.
She's not a particularly
expressive,
emotive person.
Emotive. There we go.
Perfect. So you're staying to the side,
yeah.
then. We'll let you kind of. Are you kind of just thinking to yourself? Do you want to look around? Is there anything that you want to be doing in this time?
If I have the ability, I guess I would do some kind of check just to get a sense of my belongings, because I think I think she is generally a friend to the plants, and she's very annoyed by now having had her ass kicked by them. And so I don't know if an investigation check or
maybe a perception
what
check. You're kind of looking around, looking for your stuff.
Yeah, what am I rolling? Just
Perception.
a D20?
Yes, D20.
Boop, 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 boop. And that sure is a 2. Do I have a modifier for that at all?
That would be your
Probably
perception.
not, right? Oh, I have a perception. Wow, yeah, okay. Sorry, I literally have it in front of me.
Where the fuck's perception?
I have it. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's 3. It's a +3. So
Nice.
a whopping 5.
Your bonus is higher than your roll.
Great. Great.
Amazing.
So I get like a nothing from that. So that's cool. Maybe she's just
Wait,
having too
what
many
was your
emotions to
total?
take anything. 5.
5. Okay. And you're looking for your own stuff, or you're looking at the plants?
I'm looking at the plants, trying to figure out, because I've never seen a plant monster come and whip me into submission. So that
Fair enough.
is.
So
Yeah.
you're standing off to the side. In fact, you're kind of just gonna wander up a little bit, back up to the bloodied plants, because there's like a little bit of a pool of blood now, like leaked from. It might be a little bit. It might be a lot of Gerran's blood. Let's be honest, and probably Beryn's too. So you're gonna start looking through that.
Beryn's she's okay with.
So you're looking through it, and you're not like. You spent too much time, like you take quite a while on like the other little plants that were crawling around. It takes you a while before you actually go to like the main bigger plant, like that was stationary. But you do see in the space behind There seems to be like leftover like scraps of clothing and things from maybe previous adventurers that have been here. And yeah, you can start. You see some stuff like some scraps of clothing. You don't see anything interesting necessarily, but there is stuff there to look through, so you can start kind of poking around.
Rifling through some deceased person's belongings.
Yeah, you do. There's
So
like a
these-
bone or two
Poking
as well,
around.
for sure.
Ooh, she likes bones.
Okay, so as this is happening, so Gerran, your bleeding has stopped. With the healing and everything, we'll say that you're okay on that front.
Yeah, kind of watches his like the wounds like sew up and close.
Yep, not the clothes, unfortunately.
Oh, you know.
But
Naked
Ish,
boy.
close-ish.
Pinto, you spent this time doing some intensive sort of like magic, and you kind of compare your own runes. You kind of start sometimes like in your own spell book, like if I do this rune and this rune, does it kind of, because you saw with the 26, you saw the symbol. You saw the symbol that was woven in the air for the brief moment, seconds before contact was made between Fitz and Gerran and Beryn. And you're trying to match that rune, and you are not able to. But with the 26, you've done a pretty thorough job looking through like your basic sort of like set of runes that you know would potentially, what healing is usually like. Healing could be divine, actually, not necessarily arcane. And when you go down that rabbit hole, you realize that is none of your arcane fits into this, so you're left with it might be divine in nature, which is unique.
Interesting.
Do you say any of it
Hey,
out loud?
Fitz? Have you gotten more spiritual recently? I know you're not a huge fan of the family biz.
You know, it is an unfortunate constant means to an end, but I do enjoy my time communing with nature.
Okay.
If you consider that spiritual.
Oh, for sure, for sure. However, I've got a lot of wonderings. The beginning of a theory that perhaps this is in connection to maybe some sort of deity, some sort of higher power. It's very different from the magic that I'm able to practice.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I don't know what Lenora does at this point, but just for the team to know that her magic is divine. So I'll say she maybe overhears this, and doesn't do anything yet.
Maybe in that moment that you hear it, you're just a little bit distracted, and your foot kind of like kicks a little bit of something, and you hear a clink. And then right by your foot, Lenora, like literally nat 1 seconds away from, like, had you got a nat 1 seconds away from getting stepped on, you see a little vial. And as you kind of uncover this area of things, there's a couple things that you find. You find a pouch of 8 silver. You find, what I'm gonna do for this is not always will I give you everything that loot is, because like you just spend time to identify magic items and stuff like that, but I'd like to just get like, okay, anyways, you do that. So you have a antidote, lesser antidote, and a crystal thing. So it after some time you'll be able to identify it as a potency crystal. So I linked all that to y'all in the chat.
Okay.
So as you're kind of starting to pick that up, though, Beryn is like at this point probably snoring away, like he is not woken up. he passed out, he was steadied, and he kind of was like, he made some noises for like a little bit. I was like, what? And then just like stayed asleep for a little bit.
As that happens, so two things. One, is this something that you two wanted to discuss in private? And secondly, did we want to wake him up? Or did we want to make camp?
Looking up around you,
I mean,
it is night. It is like night has fallen.
It may be in our best interest to rest for the night, but I also don't think we need to wake him up to carry him. I'm happy to hoist him if we need to, but I don't want to rouse him if he shouldn't be roused.
Sure. That answers question 2 and not question 1.
I mean, considering we're in pretty alien territory, and it's getting dark, maybe setting up camp would be a good idea.
That still only answers question 2.
I'm sorry, what was question 1?
Question 1 was the conversation that you were just having. Did you want to have it in private without me? Because it sounded personal.
Ooh. Fitz, I am so sorry.
I don't understand what is happening.
Not the dirty
Well,
laundry.
The conversation
You were having a
of that-
conversation and we all overheard it. I don't know if that was.
I mean,
meant to
after all, you
happen
just
earlier.
had
I
my
mean,
hand
you
on
have
your
ears.
your hand is still on my shoulder, so
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
been let there the whole
And-
time.
I didn't think it was going to be private since we were physically touching one another, but I thought it would be weirder to tell you to ignore me as I'm touching you. So
I
if you
suppose
have
so.
ears and hear what I'm saying, then how is it private?
no, I just thought you, considering we just met, that perhaps there was something that you wanted to say alone.
No,
But
I appreciate
If
it.
you feel comfortable and trust me with this information, good to know.
Are
And
we making a camp or are we not making a camp?
I think we're making a camp, Lenora.
Okay, let's go make the camp.
Okay.
Somebody tie up the man, the Beryn. I don't want him waking up and acting a damn fool.
I still
Oh.
think like a few of his limbs are broken, so I don't think he's getting anywhere.
Can I gag him? Is that... Would you guys be upset if I did that?
Do you maybe instead want to start a fire?
I actually really don't. I would prefer to make it so that Beryn cannot speak or make noise. But if you...
Would it make you happier?
Immensely.
I think that I'm a vote for that.
Great.
Hey,
so...
just
Let's go pick
Lenora,
up sticks.
Yeah, let's just remember also we told Mel that we do have to, if possible, bring him back alive.
Sure. Which is why I said, can I go gag him and not can I go slit his throat? Which I feel like is really generous.
Oh, cool, for sure, yeah.
And in
Excellent.
Lenora's defense, he's already run off before.
Also, I'm like really good at making fire, so this is not a concern for us. I mean, you guys do,
So then you
I
can
guess,
handle both
do whatever
responsibilities
you
then.
want to do. I never said that, but if nobody else is going to gag my nemesis, then I guess I have to do it.
As your nemesis, wouldn't it be pertinent for you to do so?
You know what, you guys, I feel like this is the first time in my life I've decided to work in a team, and I'm highly beginning to regret it because I'm feeling unsupported.
I feel like I've defended you multiple times in the 2 days that we've known each other.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe everybody needs to have a gag around their mouth at
Do
this
you?
point.
Oh,
Yes,
Okay.
Chipmunk, you wanted to speak.
yeah. Is this the type of situation where you want me to gag him for you? Or it feels like you.
I
would
mean,
take
otherwise
particular
it seems
pleasure
like
in-
I'm doing everything around here. You guys want me to light the fire? You want me to gag the nemesis?
Okay, sure. Fair enough.
This is the strangest argument I've ever been a part of.
You know what? I think Pinto would actually feel better if he were the one doing
Yeah,
this gagging.
yeah.
just for Beryn's welfare.
Like,
so
yeah, you make it like not incredibly painful, and like you make sure.
And it's like some lanyards that I've got in my pocket that like the prelims gave to me. So it's
prelims basically gagged.
Respectfully to you, Mr. Gerbil, have you ever gagged somebody before to prevent them from speaking, or would this be your first time embarking on such an endeavor?
Oh, for sure, my first. You got
Okay,
any pointers?
Tight. Tight is good. If you think it's tight enough, it's probably not. Just keep going.
Lenora.
Oh, okay.
On one hand, why do I have to do everything? On the other hand, no, you're not gonna do it right.
Listen.
All right, amazing. So ridiculous.
I'm also not tying it very tight. I don't know if I need to roll for like I don't know, like a bad sleight of hand. I'm like, it's
Lenora
really
notices and
it's
Lenora notices and shoves him out of the way and finishes doing it herself.
All right, sure. We can move forward a little bit. You all make camp eventually. You guys settle down. Probably the clearing that you just cleared is gonna be the safest because you just cleared it. Whatever was there is no longer there. And at least for, you think, a short period of time, animals and such that knew to avoid this area will probably continue to avoid it as long as you are relatively quiet throughout the night. So, with the plan to settle down, importantly, Lenora, the things that you find, do you share?
No. That's on her right now.
Okay. If that's the case, I do
fortunate
like
to share?
to give the opportunity. I know y'all were talking, but if I can at least get a sleight of hand from you, Lenora, and perception checks from everyone else.
I will say it should be for against perception DC, but feel free to
Actually, yeah.
allow checks if you want.
No, let's do perception DCs because they're not actively looking.
That'll be your perception bonus plus 10.
Perception
everybody else,
bonus
not you.
is
You're
plus
gonna do. Sorry,
9.
everybody else is perceiving. You are doing sleight of hand.
Great.
And what is my
I say sleight of hand. That's the wrong term. That would be
Thievery.
thievery. Your thievery skill.
thievery? Got it. And I have a
Knowledge.
+2 on thievery, so that is a 14 plus 2, so a 16.
16.
That beats my perception, my passive, or whatever words are in Pathfinder.
All right. Perception DC. What about everybody else? So again, it's
You
your
got a
perception.
10?
What's that?
Got an
Got an
18.
18.
And then what was yours, Pinto?
10.
10. Okay. Wait. Is your
I will venture to say that is impossible. What's your perception bonus?
Mine is a +4.
so it'd be
Okay.
14.
Nice.
Then your perception DC is a 14.
It's 14.
My
Same as
bad.
mine.
I got a 14.
Twinsies.
Hey.
Perfect. So Fitz, I would say you're the only one that notices that like when Lenora came back to have the conversation about like gagging Beryn and everything, that like there was like some stuff stuffed into pockets or however.
To be fair, I did say I was going off to collect sticks, so I probably wasn't there for the interaction.
That was
But
before. That was
I
before.
think. Oh, great. Never mind. Then upon leaving, I saw her back pockets plump with treasure.
Perfect.
Don't read into
No,
that.
It's dead
Donk a
ass.
donk.
We're talking about Lenora, we're not-
Better.
Listen,
And Fitz did a double take and went, damn! No, he just kept fucking sticks.
this is a very funny conversation to me because none of you have ever seen me from the waist down.
It's true.
Sure.
Like IRL. But
My-
Lenora is not, you know.
Yeah, no, my butt is my entire personality. Not because of me, but because everybody else has made it so since I hit puberty. Anyways, yeah, Lenora's thick with treasure.
We'll see.
Amazing. Okay. So at this point, things have been
sorry.
gathered. And everyone is basically settling down for the evening. But as you guys sort of take that hour break, nom on whatever you have in with you, any rations or whatever, Beryn
Quick question,
does. Yes.
Sir, real fast. Sorry. Could we set watches?
Yes, absolutely. Are you
Yeah,
planning to set
I just didn't know if you were like denouement us. I wanted to make sure that was possible before.
Yes, we will. Before we go
Sorry.
into the night, we will make sure you all have watches.
Thank you.
And like however many you want, on your wrist. Not those kind of watches. Okay.
What the fuck?
What?
Okay.
At this point, Beryn, not Gerran, stirs, begins to start shuffling Waffles.
Yeah, you'll just hear a little like clearly trying to talk, but is gagged.
Are his eyes open?
Yeah, they're like between groggy and open.
Lenora bends down right in front of him and stares directly at his face in a way that is unsettling.
He tries to stare at you for like a second and then just attempts to roll away, but it hurts. So he just like looks away. He's like,
Lenora, you hear kind of rustling from behind you. Do you mind if I speak to him for a second?
Why?
Because I think that there's a lesson to be learned.
He's horrible. He doesn't learn lessons. He just does cruelty.
he's like clearly wants to say something back to that.
Perhaps. But as long as he's still breathing, there's an opportunity here.
Whatever.
I'm not discounting what happened between you two in the past. I don't know it.
She just rolls her eyes and walks away. She doesn't have the patience for this.
He sighs and sits next to Beryn. I want you to listen.
He nods.
I took your place and watched you crawl away. You didn't look back, not once. Not as they struck me, not as I nearly fell. Back home we have a rule. If someone stands in front of you, you carry their weight afterwards. You didn't carry anything. You left it on me. You don't have to fix that with me. But you better fix it before someone else bleeds for you. And he takes the gag off. People falter.
Yeah, Beryn looks like legit kind of scared, and is looking at you, and he's like, sorry, I can't. I just thought I couldn't help you if I was dead.
You were going to die if we didn't find you.
And thank you, honestly. Like,
what was your plan anyway?
He's like, you seem like looking up a little. He's like, didn't quite think that far. I mean, I got out here, and if I got away from the plants at that point, the plan was to go back to Roga.
Because you bit off more than you can chew?
Yeah, for sure.
Look, people falter. I get that. And he kind of does the dad point at your heart with his index finger. But you need to decide who you are before someone else steps in again. Do you get that?
He doesn't really say anything to it, but he'll nod silently.
All right. So he puts the gag back.
Nice.
It's not that I want to. It's just I'm not interested in her being even more upset than she is.
Yeah, can I
Call
say
it politics.
that Lenora is not listening. She can't hear the conversation because she stepped away, but she turns around and clocks him replacing the gag.
Yeah.
And just has a little bit of satisfaction from that.
Absolutely.
Get some rest. And he'll go and find a place himself.
All right. Is anyone else doing anything tonight?
Oh, and he'll take first watch if no one has any
Sure.
issues.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna refocus, but I think that'll happen naturally with the rest
Yeah.
too.
Absolutely. I mean, you probably have already refocused at the time it took to until now. That's fine.
With them sticks.
We might sticks.
Perfect. So with that, we have first watch. Waffles, we talked about this briefly. How did you want to do watches? You want to do 2 or 3? Because I know it gets funky.
I think 2's fine.
Okay. Alrighty. So Gerran is first watch. Who would like to take second watch?
Lenora
Fitz
will
will-
take second. Sure,
Great.
Fitz.
Yeah,
whatever.
no, you do it. You do it.
Yeah, Lenora will take second watch.
Okay.
Lenora can do everything.
Clearly,
Not,
Lenora has
look,
to
not
do
for nothing.
everything
She's the
around here.
only. Not
But
for
not
nothing. She's the
sticks, not
only
sticks.
woman in the group.
All right. Gerran, for starters, make me a perception check for your watch.
Sure. Well, that's super cocked. Oh, that's good. That's a 21. Cocked.
21. First, bit of the watch goes quiet, smoothly. Plenty of sounds. I mean, not eerily quiet. It is a dense jungle forest here. So you hear insects chirping but at some point in the middle, kind of near to the later side of the watch, you hear a loud, crack echo in the distance. It's far, it is faint. You do not think there is a concern for your immediacy. But the sound, you're trained in this type of survival stuff and this biome as well. You're able to sort of okay, that's very far away. That's very loud. Can't help but be a little bit kind of just nervous at what sized thing could have done something like that. But
For
the
sure.
rest-
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, the reason why you took first watch is his adrenaline is still,
Yep.
even though there's, that tiredness of the body, the mind is still, rapid fire. And, the initial, sound is almost comforting. It is home for him. And then that sort of, and there's an initial, actually right before that, what he's doing is he's practicing a fight that didn't work in the fight, that he didn't roll his shoulders enough to allow the slash to miss and it hit him. So he's practicing, even though he's still very sore and hurting, but he's trying to grit his way through it. And then that's when that sound hits, and he kind of freezes for a second, and then tries to get his composure back.
Perfect.
Is this loud enough to wake the sound loud enough to wake up the people who are sleeping?
No. I think it's distant enough. It is really Gerran's knowledge and the good perception check that recognized the distance to the sound to how large that would be, but otherwise it would not be enough to wake you all.
More like a low rolling thunder, probably.
Yeah. But then shift of guards. Rest of it goes smoothly for you, Gerran, and you go to wake Lenora.
It's your time.
Okay.
Go ahead and make me a perception.
Yeah. That is a 7 plus 3, so a 10. Plus 3 plus 2?
Yeah.
He'll make a point
Plus 3
before
plus
he
3.
he'll make a point before he goes to bed to pass on that knowledge.
Of the loud, large thing in the far off.
Yeah, and point it out to the wares.
All right. She takes note of it. She looks in that direction. But yeah, perception is 7 plus 3, so 10. And then while she's on her watch, she thinks about what she heard earlier about Fitz and Pinto talking about divine magic,
Yes.
and can she make it like an Arcana check? to
So
see
you
what
can make
she-
me a religion check.
Religion check. All right, and that's. Let me see what my modifier is for that. Would it be religion? It's a +3. All right. So it's a 16 plus 3, 19.
19. You, as a sorcerer, cast from we call it the divine spell list. But you do know the intricacies. Divine magic, especially here in this world, is unique. Lenora, before I kind of give you your answer, I want to know, with how you were raised and everything, how much did you look into, like, on your own about your magic and your origin, and specifically yours versus just divine magic in general?
She has tried to look it up, but has not found anything particularly helpful. Primarily, I would say, based on the stigma of being devil spawn. There's not a lot of like how-to guides.
Gotcha.
For like, hey, are you half from hell? Here's the manual. So
you missed that book in the library?
Yeah. So she's tried her best, and her moms have kind of tried to steer her in the right direction, but they're not magic-y people, so they don't really know. They just make the potions. So it's mostly been like a DIY situation.
Perfect. So with that, I would say that the very basic thing, especially because of Hellspawn and everything like that, the direction that you were looking in probably brought you only slightly into like the sort of classic like divine magic piece here. And in that, what you know is that really since the Calamity, divine magic has been different. You don't know what it was like before, but you know that there tend to be limitations on large sort of like divine rituals and things like that. But those are like big grandiose things, like not what Fitz was doing. So trying to put together with what Fitz was doing, you kind of think about it and you're like, he's not so those are the options, right? Like either he's sort of tapping into some of the divine magic that exists since the Calamity, or there is something about by blood, like, like Hellspawn or something like that. So it's either going to be something in his like DNA, or he must be tapping into the divine. But that's a little odd even for you, because you know how things have changed on that front.
Yeah. All right, so what would be like my general takeaway from that it's weird that he's able to tap into that
it came from his mechanical arm
okay
is confusing to you. If it was because you were like 70-30, it's got to be his DNA, bro, like just like me, you know. But then that's kind of throwing a wrench in things, so that's kind of your takeaway.
Because it's okay. All right, then I guess she just continues with the rest of her not very perceptive watch.
Yeah, I kind of lost in thought for a little bit there, staring at Fitz in his sleep, probably just a little bit. And
just like really just kind of like, if anybody were to wake up and look at her, she'd just be like
kind of furrowed browed, staring at Fitz.
And he's not a pretty sleeper.
Intently staring at his arm.
Just like at it.
Very good.
Perfect. Okay. So with that, the rest of your watch, that you don't perceive anything in, particularly important either way, but also nothing seems to come interrupt any of you. And then the morning will come. Beryn kind of like, he's sitting there, but he's just gagged. He's not tied down, right?
Right. Because somebody said that his bones are broken, so we don't have to.
You see, he'll probably be gesturing at his stomach saying like y'all didn't feed him last night. He's been gagged the whole time, so he's very hungry.
I'm so sorry, but if you wanted to eat normally, you don't run away into the woods and have to go get rescued.
My healing him didn't satisfy his hunger.
No, but it did mend some of those broken bones for sure.
So
Well, I
now
want to
can
see
we
him
tie
roll
him
on.
up?
I want to see him run on 2 rolled ankles.
Okay. Do y'all just ignore him then?
No.
I'd give him some rations or something.
Yeah.
Lenora disapproves. Let him starve.
He slowly takes out his own gag since he hasn't been tied up, but he still left the gag in there all night.
Smart. Real smart by him.
Good. Yeah, dude.
Real smart by him.
Smart, yeah.
Establish subservience.
There is a bottom.
After some rations, and I think he's gonna look warily at Lenora before he says anything. But he'll look at you all and just sort of hesitantly, and then honestly I think he's gonna look over to you, Gerran, because I think he's slightly more comfortable with you. Are we going back today?
He nods.
Okay. I can walk and I won't run away. Is that cool?
That's exactly what somebody who would run away would say.
No, dude, I get it. I nearly died, okay? I get it. I'm not dumb to do it twice, all right?
Still kinda dumb, though.
Evidence to the contrary. And please don't dude me.
It was to
Okay?
her.
Never
Don't
you
dude
mind,
me
sir.
either.
Yeah, I agree with Miss Lenora. I think maybe you should be walking a few steps in front of us.
That's fine. That's not what okay. Yep. Like he just kind of gives up.
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks.
Honestly, it doesn't matter because we would simply catch up to you, even if you did decide to change your mind.
I'm not going. Okay. Thanks.
I know. I'm not.
No, it's
I
fine.
understand.
I'll just.
I'm telling you
Let me
that
know
maybe
where
you
they
should
are.
shut the fuck up.
I'm gonna put the gag back in. He puts his own gag back in.
Yeah, he nods with a bit of a smile.
Lenora kind of puffs up a little bit at seeing that.
You and you know, Lenora, like compared to school, Beryn, like he is behaving thoroughly cowed from this whole situation. Like you do see the difference in his behavior.
You took that L, dog.
Yeah. Okay, unless otherwise, I will say you all pack up your things and go on heading back to Roga, which easily enough, like you're not super far into the woods. You all make it out of there okay, unharmed, and especially with the light, it's a lot easier. Also, you're not rushing, so you're kind of able to just go back, and once you're back out of the woods and headed on the path back to Roga, much smoother. Out of the woods, Beryn does take out his gag and will just walk with you all in like silence. And we will bring.
So real quick note,
Yes.
as we pack stuff, Gerran makes a point to do some extra like stretching, almost like yoga style, because he's never been injured before and doesn't know like how his body's going to react.
Yeah.
To
Limber up.
the trek back. Yeah, that's all.
All right, so you all head back to Roga. As you head back towards Roga, make it all the way there. Basically, as soon as you climb up through the very steep sort of like winding different steps to get up to Roga proper, at least the sort of town center where you left off, you are about halfway up when two individuals come running up, and then slowly behind you do recognize Mel as well, not rushing. But the two individuals that come running up Lenora, I know you recognize. I don't know who else would recognize. You actually recognize Beryn's parents.
His parents.
His parents. God damn it.
I heard parts and that was fucking good.
I love a portmanteau. I love a portmanteau.
So, they're both human. His dad is kind of rather largely built individual. He's tall, like 6 foot. He's not immensely fit, though he does carry like a impressive sort of like stern aura about him. As he's more just like rushing to keep up with his wife. The dad, his name is Dagon, and his mom is Nora. And as Nora comes running up, she is a short and plump woman, so she's kind of like jogging up like, oh Beryn, oh honey, and like immediately like Beryn, without even a second hesitation, is running into his mom's arms, and he's like, Mom, I'm so sorry, and he's like almost like crying, basically. And she's just like patting him on the head. She's like, my boy, oh, this is happening. You all kind of coming up, meeting around there. You, Lenora, have had interactions with his parents before, mostly because they were called into school to deal with your situations and things like that. Well, your 2 situations. So your interactions with them in the past have not been positive. Dagon, standing there, looking over, like, to the reunion between Beryn and his mom, clears his throat once, steps forward, and he kind of like runs a hand through his hair, almost like a nervous tick. You've never seen him quite like this. He's a solemn, stern man of few words, but you see his demeanor shift a little bit. And though he looks over all of you, this group that has returned his son safely, his eyes settle on you, Lenora. Thank you for saving him.
And Beryn's nodding.
All of you, but
Okay.
thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
And then like he doesn't know what else to say.
I didn't want to do it. I was forced. If it
No,
were for
you
me, I
weren't
would have.
forced. That's not true.
If it were up to me, I would have let him get his ass thrashed by the plant monsters, and I would have done nothing to intervene, and I would have relished his screams as he was eaten to death by foliage. So I guess you're welcome.
Okay, maybe she was forced. Okay, never mind. I changed my mind.
You see his face get redder, kind of like in. It's hard to tell whether through anger or just like like whatever it is. Like he's sort of like keeping his mouth shut, and he just turns around and goes to kind of like go to his son.
Gerran will look at Beryn's dad. A lesson was learned here in the last 24 hours. Maybe you should consider reinforcing it. And he looks at Beryn. He knows why.
Right. Kind of just nods to you, like not 100% sure, but does kind of like as Beryn pulls away, is like, "You okay, son?"
Yeah. He like glances at Lenora. They saved me. They treated me great. It's all good.
Fitz will lean over to Bogie and whisper
To Bogie.
I was kind of
Bogie.
worried that he would.
Bogie.
Oh my God! I'm so sorry. To Pinto. Fitz will reach through the ethereal plane and pull Bogie through his player character. And he will say to Pinto, I was a little worried he would kind of be a little brat about the gag, but maybe this is a sign of maturity.
No, I think more of a sign of shame, but yeah, I mean, I've seen this a lot, right? Apples and trees. I wouldn't necessarily trust either of his parents.
Lenora-
Some
You
people
can
were meant not to go outside.
Lenora hears this and turns to them and says, "He is a coward and his bloodline is weak."
Well, that's pretty apt.
Mel clears her throat as the trio of Beryn and his parents start heading out. I'm very glad to see you all returned alive, safely, and with Beryn in tow. Thank you very much for prioritizing another life. She says this particularly at Lenora.
Amazing. Gerran just nods.
Lenora just stares stone-faced.
Now, if you have the energy and time, or unless you wish to do anything, I believe I owe you some answers and the rest of our conversation.
You do, but a question on top of that.
Yes.
What do the folk of Roga do for celebration in regards to a mission accomplished? Because I would like to learn and do that, please.
Well, song and dance is a great... go ahead, Pinto, if you were going to pop in there.
If I may, I mean, it really is kind of a dealer's choice around here. I happen to know a really good chicken place if you're hungry.
Food is essential, yes.
Why not a combination of both? All three. Song, dance, chicken.
Song, dance, chicken.
Certainly.
should be
A new album
my
coming!
Song, dance, and chicken.
Sounds like a Limp Bizkit song, actually.
No.
Very
It really
weird.
does.
It does.
I was gonna say I might wear that T-shirt.
You know what, Syrup? You're welcome for the new.
Somebody
shirt.
write that down in the chat for me.
Song, dance, and chicken.
I'll make it a shirt.
I'm undefeated. 3 for 3.
So are you asking to do a celebration before you continue the conversations with Mel? Like out of character, is that what I understand
It's
correctly?
out of character. Not like as a prerequisite, like a kind of a combination of all of it. Like from his perspective, it's an opportunity for him to continuously engage in a culture that he's unfamiliar with. So because he just doesn't know, he's like, "Well, you guys do when things go well."
Yes, so Mel goes now while I would normally perhaps do a larger gathering with the games just yesterday, I think the town itself is a little tuckered and recovering. There is one, like, at this perfect timing, like, somebody very clearly hungover, like, stumbles out of the door from, like, their house. But sitting around with some food and telling stories is a wonderful way as well. So I suggest let us stop by this chicken spot of yours that you mentioned, Pinto, and we will perhaps sit around and have the conversations in my office.
Yes, that does sound nice because it actually matches up with what we do back. You could pause this for a second, like on the last word. Like it starts with an H and he doesn't say it. Yeah. That sounds good.
She smiles at you, and she definitely catches the something left unsaid, but she gives you a pat on the shoulder.
Back in his horse.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's definitely the word.
The basketball game. Yes, the horse game.
Ding!
Got it.
Correct. And so as you all kind of lead over, you'll pit stop, and I'm assuming at Fitz's own is what you're referring to, Pinto. Fitz's own kind of snack stand here. And
Better
poor
believe
Fitz,
it.
after just coming back from the woods, now has to cook meals for everybody.
Fitz will take his spatula out of his backpack and walk behind the stand.
Always be working.
Take his shield off of his back, slam it down on the stovetop, and clean it, and then light the stovetop and
You want an
start.
assist, buddy?
I am okay. This kitchen is too small. That would be too many cooks.
Gerran sort of raises his hand. Wait a second. This is when you said chicken. I assumed we were going to someone else's establishment. Like this is your establishment. Shouldn't it be a celebration for everyone?
I really like to cook, and we can invoice the town, so it's a win for me.
Oh,
Mel goes, "Oh,
I see.
yes, we would be happy." Like she was not planning on it, but
Yeah, Fitz will immediately just
Right.
look at Mel after he says that, already like cooking this chicken.
And
perfect.
Gerran is immediately like, oh, I don't understand this at all, and like just is like, oh, there's like something deeper here that he doesn't know.
yes.
So sorry, just for my own context, are we like getting the information from Mel and everything else after eating chicken, or is this like a celebration night and then we're coming back?
So the
This
plan
is like cutscene. I'm cooking the chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully
so
to
y'all
go.
wandered off to like you guys go into the town, getting settled. You are hanging around for a brief sort of literally cutscene. Where you all sit around, relax a little bit, maybe catch Mel up on what happened. Like, not her stuff, but like you can just kind of download the info for her. And then you'll go to her office and eat the chicken later. And
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know. I just wanted to be clear if there was like any kind of revelry going on.
Oh, I had in my mind it was the post-credit scene in Avengers, in the first Avengers movie.
100%
where we're all just
shawarma,
gonna sit
yes.
and,
Okay,
like,
cool. If there was revelry, Lenora was gonna fuck off. But if there's not revelry, she's sticking around.
I think it is a subtle thing. So I think it's definitely something that Lenora, knowing that like you're literally waiting for the food to go talk to Mel, which you need to do, Lenora's gonna like stick with everybody. But I think and Lenora does not have to drink the Kool-Aid, so to speak, on this, but with the storytelling to Mel and the kind of air of the cooking, and maybe Fitz is even kind of humming a tune as he's cooking, there is a sort of relaxed atmosphere at the very least, as you all kind of just like two of you on the stools that's right in front of the little stand, and the rest of you just kind of standing around talking.
Yep. Hands out, please. Hands out. And I cast Prestidigitation on everybody's hands.
Here's a hand sanitizer.
Oh my god,
Cleanliness first, okay?
that is the cutest fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Love it.
Nice.
That was when I
That's
described, when I read out Prestidigitation to the kindergarten teachers that I work with. They were like, "Oh, clean a spot 5 feet? Yes, I want that."
I have a question though. Fitz, is your establishment called Drum Fits and Wings?
It is called Chicken Man.
Okay, Chicken Man. Okay.
Did you not read his backstory, Waffles?
Yeah. I just wanted to rename it.
There's a lot. It's
That was
Chicken
his
Man.
sly way.
Chicken Man. I like it.
You will not rewrite
Chicken Man
my
is a
history.
great. Chicken Man is a great name for. I feel
That's
like that's. If you see a shop called Chicken Man, like you know what they're about, and they're probably
Yes.
really good at it.
Yeah,
Strong
I-
branding.
Legitimately, if I were to ever open up like a small restaurant, it would just be called Chicken Man.
Yeah.
My fiance thinks it should be called Chicken Man Presents
No.
Thighs and Fries.
Oh,
Well, because, or I guess we could call it Thighs and Fries, Chicken Man Endeavor. But Chicken Man is very
nah,
much
it
my
just needs to be
identity.
Chicken Man at the top, you know?
Yeah, I think it's just Chicken Man. There's also already a Pies and Thighs over here in Brooklyn.
Oh, but this
Thighs-
is Thighs and
Very iconic.
Fries.
Yeah,
Thighs and
but
Fries
it's
is
like...
definitely a good
Not
name
everything's
for
Brooklyn, bro.
a
No, I
meal.
know, but I'm just
so the
saying.
problem
it's,
now
it's similar.
Is that Fitz is just Gus Fring now for me. That's it.
Yeah, okay. That
Nobody
honestly
takes
works.
this
I'm very
idea.
thrilled with
Kind of
Kinda
like
that.
an
makes a
Eastern
Chicken Man.
European Gus Fring.
personally
Can I
find
reflavor
you.
my weapon to be a box cutter?
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Here's what we're gonna do. this happens, unless there's anything anybody particularly wants to like convey or otherwise, we transition ourselves back up to Mel's office.
Take out.
As I try not to kill everything. Okay. So in this moment, kind of sitting all down, once again crowded in her office, but now with plates of steaming chicken, that actually, just because I really want it to be a roll, let's go ahead and make a what do you think, Waffles? Crafting check?
It's crafting. I'm pretty sure cooking falls under crafting. I think it's a specific type of crafting.
Let's do some crafting.
Is there anything I could have
That's
done
gonna be-
to have helped him along the way?
No. Because he kicked, only because he kicked you out of the kitchen.
You don't need to. You don't need to. He's a chef.
This is
That's going to be an
established.
18.
I have a
18.
+5 in crafting. So
We
that's,
chef.
Nice.
that's
Lenora
gonna
with her on
be-
her own plate just like put some like extra seasoning.
That's a
If you
21,
season my
baby.
food, I will take it out of your mouth while you try to eat it.
16 plus
No,
5.
Lenora's sitting there
21.
eating
Fitz
the
only.
chicken.
Fitz was cooking.
Lenora's sitting there eating the chicken, but she's definitely like, I could have made this better.
Need some paprika.
Well, were you fighting plants all day and then had to cook a meal for 6 people?
She didn't say anything. She just knows.
It is a solid set of chicken pieces for everybody. You do a solid job.
Thank you.
Okay. So
I'm gonna
Mel
roll
will
21 for the useless part.
Mel
Swear to
will
God.
sit down and you notice that, did you cook for her as well?
Oh, yeah. I made more food than we needed because that's how it goes.
She, upon like walking in, kind of like on this couple of steps, like a floor down from like the round steps that lead up to her office, there is like a couple 2 desks where she has basically like a secretary and like whatever other people that operate here, and she will pass her plate off to them you say please enjoy, as she kind of follows up, and she will tell you.
Does Mel eat or does she like photosynthesize?
So
It doesn't-
as of this moment, like, she does kind of pat you on the shoulder and says, please take no offense, I do not ingest animals.
Fitz will like slip her a little like turmeric ginger water and a thing and like a kale salad and
I
say,
was wondering-
don't
Goes
worry,
back and gets
you
some
can't
tofu."
have meat without a side dish.
She will
Very
slide-
Erewhon if it's.
Can I have like can we retcon that, like I remember how I like ripped off a piece of one of those withering vines?
Yes.
Can I hand it over? Fitzy, I don't know how comfortable you'd feel about this, but I mean, this is some new plant life. We don't know what it tastes like.
No. For me, that's okay. I would not. That is, for all intents and purposes, a creature that ingested blood, so it will not fall under that. Feel free in your own experiments, but I'm okay. Thank you.
Are you interested, Fitz?
I will hold on to it to see if it's edible.
Maybe, right?
Asparagus.
Can I roll like a medicine check or would that be like a nature check?
We'll say that you keep put it in your inventory, and
Yeah, we're
when
gonna
you're
steal it for
going
later.
to experiment on it, we'll do those checks at that point.
Copy that.
So with this, you settle in. She will look at you all. So you had some questions on the sky, is that correct?
Oh,
I forgot. In my panic. Oh yeah, in my panic, I forgot what my button was.
Nope. Oh, for sure. But I mean, honestly, at this point, there's something a little bit more, I don't know, not pressing. I don't want to be impolite, Mel, but I mean, what are you exactly? Again,
How is that more important than the sky?
Why? Because, I mean, she kind of floated past us very, very subtly that she's kind of got this big brother thing going on where, like, do you just sense where we all are at all points within Roga? Or
No, I understand the concern. It is a vague sense of the natural world within a certain proximity to me. And I try to... How do I put this? Roga is my home. And as such, I categorize the natural beings of Roga as individuals under my care. I am not able to discern you from another necessarily, but I'm able to try to feel if one of you is in... If you're talking about how I found Beryn, it was because he was the sole Rogan running in the direction of the woods that I was able to sense him.
Could you tell me where my brother Clove is right now?
I could not. There are far too many people within Roga.
All right, can I make not an almost used the
Sense
dirty
motive.
I word insight check? Yeah.
Go ahead and roll perception.
Oh no, my arms are gone.
Not that she's ever given me a reason to distrust her, but this is a lot. I got a 6, and my perception is 4. 10.
10.
She seems to be genuine. Now, Gerran, you were interested in the stars, and that is, and you see her, like, she's collected some papers, and she kind of, like, stacks them. She's like, this is, what I've collected. It's not, like, it's, like, her own notes. Like, she just, like, she wrote something down for herself for notes, and so she was like, this is the information that I did my best to collect for you.
So, just a quick, like, spatial awareness situation.
Yeah.
The table that, I don't know if we're sitting on a table or whatnot.
Yeah, she has a desk in front of her.
Okay, cool. If that's the case, he's going to get up and walk behind her and do the classic, like, stand and look if she doesn't protest.
This is just my notes to myself. I
don't think you understand where I'm coming from. I don't have anything. So anything is important.
Sit, Gerran. Let me tell you a story then.
He, like, sighs and, like, glares at her for a second. And then sits down.
What I have managed to put together is that in the time before the calamity, Marav looked far, far different than the world you see today. Marav would be the continent you all are on. Mahrav. Civilization sprawled across the wilds, with little regard for the natural habitats they destroyed in the process. For the sights of humanity rose to the skies, and in doing so they lost the perspective for the foundation of the world that allowed them to flourish. It was more than the skies that called to them, you see. It was what lay beyond them, too. And she'll make eye contact with you, Gerran. Stars, planets, other worlds with other civilizations. It became a race who could travel farther. What new materials would they find? What innovations awaited them out in the unknown of space? An important question you may ask, she looks over at you, Pinto, is how then did humanity's relationship to the unknown change? She'll look over to you, Fitz. You have heard of some of the gods of old, yes? The ones who still some still choose to worship. It is my understanding that the relationship between mortal and divine used to be quite different. A more direct exchange, perhaps, mortals could talk to, ask favors from, and even grow powerful off of a direct relationship with their deity. And as humanity's thirst for knowledge and power grew, though I know not for certain, I wonder if some of those relationships soured. What historians have gathered for certain is that the calamity started with the natural world rebelling. Not only did the trees, the shrubbery, and the grass begin to reclaim their habitats, the winds and the waters carved the world asunder. As such, there are two names that you'll find no one dares to worship anymore, lest they incur their wrath again. She will pause and she will look at you all to just understand, as the next two words come out of her mouth, that they do carry weight.
Gerran's leaning in.
Erastil and Gozra.
I'm sorry, could you spell that for me?
Erastil is Erastil, and Gozra is Gozreh.
Ooh.
The civilizations of Marav, likely all of Nova, were torn apart from everything they knew. And it was only once the divine barrier arose that things finally settled down, and we could begin to relearn how to exist in the world you now know. There's much unknown still surrounding the divine barrier, she points upwards. Though I know this may be what you are most curious about. Once the barrier was erected, communication with the gods ceased. This kind of ties into what you know, Lenora, like from your check earlier. The prevalent theories tend to be two sides of the same coin. The divine barrier was put in place as punishment by the gods, insulted by the insolence of mortals, or as a means of saving the world from the punishment of the gods. Be it punishment or protection, I'm afraid that the barrier now blocks us from all the vastness beyond. Those who could once reach the stars can now never see them again.
Stars, planets, is this common knowledge in Roga? Or this idea of an entire world beyond our own?
In Roga,
physically.
It's not really talked about. No. It's not taught either. Like a solar system beyond.
You're blowing my mind right now, but why? Why wouldn't you share this with everyone?
It is not kept from anyone. There is no fact of why the divine barrier was put in place, only conjecture. But
it might not be kept, but it is not given. We do not speak of this. We do not talk of this in our homes, even.
That is fair. I suppose my perspective lays in the world we currently inhabit. I aim to help all Rogans live a balanced life, a happy life, but I do not wish to staunch questions such as your concerns, Pinto, and if you have questions that we cannot answer here, I will do all in my power to seek the answers from those that come to town, but if that is not sufficient, then I will never keep you here. The world is yours to explore.
I have an out-of-character question.
Yeah.
Just for the context of, like, the gods and divinity and divine magic. So, because Lenora is Hellspawn, are all of the deities kind of space gods, or is there
It's a
is
very
there an
good
understanding
question.
that that Lenora's magic would come from somewhere else?
Okay, so a lot of the deities that are in this realm,
Mm-hmm.
space locked. I like that term, so I'm gonna use it. Okay,
Yeah.
but there are other realms of existence, and you probably, I mean, that's gonna be something that you would definitely be able to like find as the basis. Like, there's one map somewhere in the Rogan library of like the different planes, right?
Okay.
And hell is a plane of existence, a different plane of existence, and as such, you don't know how that would interact with the divine barrier.
Or what it would mean for me if that barrier were no longer there.
Correct.
Whether because maybe I get smote.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
Jacob.
So I've been wanting to do this for a while for this new game that we're playing together. I would like Fitz, Lenora, and Pinto to make a perception check.
I love it. I love it. Do it. Do it.
One
Player rules. Player
second.
rules.
I got a dirty 20.
Nice.
I got a dirty 22.
Okay.
Your boy got a 7.
Actually, I guess
Yeah.
since considering who's in this room, I guess the GMs you also need to roll as well.
Nah, I don't have dice for
Nah.
that.
I'll roll.
That was
I don't have
I
a
was
modifier.
very shocked.
Am I rolling for mill?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is this
okay.
like a sense motive or a performance check from you?
It says motive, I guess. From
Okay,
a
never
perception
mind.
check perceptive.
So I rolled a 6.
Yeah, it'd be a perception check either way.
Sure.
But yeah, what'd you
A
roll?
6.
Izzy?
What's the DC?
15.
Critical success.
Shit, yeah. Cool. So, what everyone but Fitz sees is Gerran's sort of like not even really knowing initially, like this, he's leaning forward, like hungry for this knowledge. And you see it written on his face. And then the minute that Fitz and Pinto have this sort of a semi-negative reaction or like any sort of like counterpoint, like he recoils, like physically you see him like sort of like almost in like this, like, this isn't my story, not yet. On the critical success, which is fucking perfect, because he's had this conversation with them.
With Belle.
They know
Yes.
why this conversation is so important to him. And I'll say with the critical success, and you can totally like not belay this, what's the word? Veto this if you want. I think in a previous meeting with them, he's actually taken a piece of parchment and drawn the stars.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think like that's what comes sort of centerfold for you,
Yeah, absolutely.
if you so choose.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, so I will say, like, as you all kind of were taken aback by this, like, why is this not talked about? And you all will see, like, Gerran basically kind of like recoil from that and be like, no, like, that's not the questions that we're asking right now. Like, no, like, this isn't right.
Yeah.
And then Mel does answer you as she has. At this point, she kind of looks at you all, and I suppose so. The last thing she said, just in case anybody wanted to respond, was, I will not keep you from exploring the world and finding whatever answers you seek.
I'm certainly intrigued by the opportunity to find some more answers and even find some more questions to ask. Mr. Gerran, I think you and I have a lot to talk about at some point.
As soon as possible.
You say there are gods locked in the sky. What does that mean for me?
She looks at you. You mean for your divine magic?
Yes.
The barrier. What I do not know, just to be slightly pedantic, I do not know that it keeps them out. I do not know what it does. I do not know for certain any of this, but taking the fact that once the divine barrier went up, communication with them ceased, I will say that the divine magic did not cease. But it did change. And the barrier made, for example, high-powered rituals fail. It is like the pure veins of ore are not able to be tapped into anymore in terms of divine magic. But that does not keep divine magic out of the air and that we are in. Does that make sense? Divine magic exists, and you are able to still cast some healing and such, but what it pulls from, what it originates from, for those that have their own connection to the divine, you know what, Fitz, you see her glance at you. I don't think anybody else will, and just to make things less rolls here. But you, Lenora, your magic doesn't come from outside. It comes from your blood.
What? Scribble, 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 scribble.
But if this barrier were to come down,
A lot would change.
how would I fare?
I don't know.
But
She's internally debating if she. I think her worry is like a deity outside of her bloodline coming in and like ruining stuff for her, essentially. She doesn't know if like if this barrier is actually affecting her in a positive way,
Yeah.
since she's got hell blood. So maybe she doesn't want deities coming down and potentially donking up the shit of other people with hell blood.
Yeah. But Mel in this moment does not seem to have the answers that you're looking for,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Mel, is there any correlation between the barrier and the plant creatures that manifested? Some more on that. Yeah, are they like awakened bushes and vines that
You
were
said you
already
had a
here?
piece of it. I can look into it if you're interested in understanding more of what the creature was.
Fitz will whip it out.
Whoa, Fitz, whoa.
All right.
Not the vine.
Do it for the vine.
Whoa, whoa.
Do it for the vine.
Fitz will whip out that vine.
And as you do, and she goes to investigate this for you and kind of detect, see if she can identify the creature, we will actually go to break because we have a lot of stuff that we've gone through, a lot of information for us to digest a little bit and come back strong, as well as some things we gotta do and places we gotta go. So with that, we're going to take a quick break, y'all. So welcome back, everybody. We left off on quite a few questions from coming out of a explanation from Mel on what information she has about the stars in the sky, or lack thereof. And with that, we can just pick right back up in her office. So,
you know what I saw. Though I don't understand the ramifications of bringing that back, positive, negative, and otherwise.
it seems to me, based on what we know, that you likely saw a map of the past.
Right. Not sure when that would have been, or if it makes sense to even bring it back, but I just need to know.
Your soul is searching for answers, and when you gather information, then you can make decisions. Whatever decisions may come from that.
I just want to... I had to have seen it for a reason. It has to be worth it.
She just sort of shrugs and smiles at you. That is not for us to decide.
But that's just it, right? It can be. It should be, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
He sits. Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Am I good? Yeah. He just sits back in his chair, scowling, and it's not fucking good enough.
Can we just circle back around real fast? You said map of the past. Do you mean like a map of something from long ago, like an old map, or are you talking about a map into the past? I'm confused, perplexed, really intrigued, very excited.
He looks at Pinto and then he looks at Mel. Did you keep the parchment?
Yes. And she will stand up for a moment, go to like a cabinet, and we'll grab it.
And he will go over to like a wall, and assuming she's got one of them, like, you know,
pinprint. Oh yeah, she has corkboard. Heck yeah.
yeah. And he rolls it out, and then like pins it on like corners and in the middle corners and things like that, and you just see a sea of stars.
So you see best attempt at putting three-dimensional information on a two-dimensional surface. Which is packed with...
And there's like arrows and like attempts to 3D. Yeah, totally. Yep, 100%.
But you see like some larger bodies, and also like you're doing this off of memory. So it's like it's you don't know how accurate it is, but you know that it conveys some information for sure, because you at least saw like major kind of planetary bodies perhaps, or something like that. So you see where the sun is, you see a planet and like some smaller stars and things like that, and then the rest is like just like stars everywhere that were drawn in that you don't think are particularly accurate.
Does any of this comport with what Pinto saw in his little seed vision?
Ooh. Yes. Yes, in a way. Perhaps a more... Not in such detail, but when you saw a sky full of lights of stars, you kind of looking at this map, you're like, maybe that was that.
So I've flipped through the pages of my notebook where I started making this very rudimentary sketch, like this crappy diagram of what I saw, and I'm erasing things, and I'm putting this over here, and I'm trying to draw lines in between.
I think I think we'll say, I don't remember exactly what I said in the scene, so I would like to just kind of like set it clearly here, because I think it'll be kind of cool to have those two perspectives. So where Gerran had this sort of three-dimensional space he's putting down on two-dimensional paper, what you saw, Pinto, was almost the perspective of someone on the ground looking up at the sky full of stars. So when you look at the stars, like you know, if you now as like IRL like look at a orrery, I believe it's called, with like the things, and what you look up at the sky are different, right? Like they don't look the same necessarily, but you're kind of trying to like
also
piece
different nights, right?
Yeah,
like,
you're kind of piecing
yeah.
here like how, so the lights, the things that I saw, those could be these from very far away. Like you're trying to piece those together, the two perspectives.
Okay. I like slowly turn around my diagram to Gerran.
He almost goes to like charge forward, and then like as he like closes this with you, like he stops himself, like hands like right in front of your face in your notebook.
Fitz will put his body between the two of you before that happens.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry.
No. You don't. You just. I'm sorry. And he says, "I'm sorry" to Pinto, like right over here, and I'm sorry to Fitz at the same time. I knew, and he realizes he's looking at Fitz. I knew that you were the person that I've been looking for. I see, and like his eyes are welling up. I see this every time I close my eyes. I don't know what it means. Can you help me find what it means?
Oh, you got it. Holy, whoa. Do you see this all the time?
Well, I saw it once he's like wiping his eyes. I saw it once in ruins. But every time I close my eyes, I see it, I dream it. And I want that for everyone. And he looks to Lenora, if it doesn't hurt anyone, I don't know. I don't know what it means, but I need to know what it means.
Well, that makes two of us now. Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Does that make 3, Fitz? It looks to Lenora. 4.
Fitz will lean in and say, "You see things when you close your eyes?"
In a manner of speaking.
Fitz will look at Pinto and say, "That is unbelievable."
Yeah, without seeds and everything.
Seeds?
Yeah, you know, the seeds that we, the seed that we
Oh,
ate at the
right,
game.
right, okay. Yeah, that wasn't, yeah, sure. That was a bit more visual that time, yeah.
Count me in. But who will protect the city when we are gone, if we have been championed as Roga's most dependable?
Down heroes. Woohoo.
Lenora is still scrutinizing them. What are you people even talking about?
Lenora,
You're not making any sense.
no, that's fair. When you hear the word hope, what does that mean to you?
Hope?
You know, it's
Like I hope this conversation starts making some sense.
greater than that, larger.
Hope
Like a
that
whole community of hope. Like, not of hope, but hope embedded in it. Giving something to someone to believe in. Greater than themselves. Does that strike a chord with you at all?
you sound fucking insane right now.
Look, I get it. This is just because I hit something in a ruin some time ago. but it's bigger than what I've seen. I'd argue it's bigger than anything that maybe we've ever seen.
She turns to Mel. What is going on? Does this space stuff have anything to do with what's going on in Roga? Why is everybody seeing stuff and stars when they close their eyes? I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit here, and I'm not sure what I'm doing here anymore.
Understand. I believe there are a few things happening at once. There are individuals that are passionate about what they found once and are seeking more information, are seeking answers. Lenora, is there anything you wish to seek answers for?
I don't know how that's anyone's business here.
You don't have to tell me what they are. I ask for a follow-up, I promise.
Okay, yes.
I think some here are realizing that the world... that there is a lot more that they might be willing to do to find the answers that they seek. Nothing more, nothing less. How they go about it is everybody's own individual business. But as far as how it relates to the task at hand, in a way, we're just seeking more information about what this thing is that I'm sensing. And so I suppose it's thematically appropriate. I hope that despite these revelations of what you're seeking, you are still willing to help with the original task.
I entered into an agreement and I intend to fulfill it.
She looks at the rest of you.
Of course.
And with Fitz and Pinto nodding as well, then perhaps you all start on that front, and Lenora, you can see if you wish to continue after that to seek any other answers that you might be looking for, and whether or not you find companionship helpful on that journey or not. But for now, I do have something for you. One moment. And at this point, I mean, the food long since eaten and probably forgotten, and everything. She...
Yeah, Gerran hasn't eaten anything. But he does... I will say just really quick, I'm so sorry if I got carried away. I've been holding on to this for so long, and I just never thought.
Hey, nothing to apologize for. You're in good company. When I took that seed, I kind of lied to myself and told to whoever was listening that I owed it to my prelims to find some answers. But that's pretty intellectually dishonest. I've got a really bad case of the wise myself. And
Yeah, that in common.
Yeah, Miss Lenora, I mean, with knowledge comes acceptance. I think often fear is the initial reaction to the unknown, whether it be a concept, a thing, or any gestures to you or a person. I mean, I'm not going to say this to Mel, but I'm slightly miffed that like all of this information about the world out there it's something that could have been readily accessible to everyone, but it wasn't. It just wasn't discussed. It wasn't polite. I've got a couple of angry parents who are really up my behind because their kids are asking questions that they don't like.
Just for sorry, I had stepped out when everybody else took their seeds, so I don't remember what everybody. I don't remember if everybody else's was quite as distressing as Lenora's.
Not quite. No.
Experience.
No,
Okay.
I think that's fair.
So this is why she is extremely reticent about this, because her little trip was not cute. it dug into some of the deepest insecurities that she has and like questions about her own existence. And so she's like she's kind of bewildered because everybody seems to be so cool with being open about their questions and their questioning, and hers is like deeply personal, and she is becoming uncomfortable with other people talking about it. So she looks at Pinto and she says, Mr. Meerkat, while I appreciate your candor, we've only just met, and I do not feel comfortable discussing this with you at this time.
Of course.
Or probably at any other time.
Well, sure. I personally have been known to overshare a lot, but I don't expect that of you.
Let's focus on the common ground, which I believe is the task imminent. So I wish to provide you with this. She will open the door, and she will step outside, and from this sort of, the outside of her door is the spiral sort of staircase that wraps around the building before kind of going back into the building. But she doesn't descend the steps. She stands from where she is and reaches outwards. Now you realize from this kind of spot, some of the limbs of the large tree that's in the center of town do basically kind of like reach very nearby. And so she reaches out to the tree and she kind of grabs hold of a branch, small part of it, and snaps it off. And so she will hand you about a foot in like length sized twig. On the twig is one bud, flower bud. It is closed, it is small, and she will turn around and present it back into the office to whoever wishes to take it.
I will take that, please.
Fitz takes it.
Instinctually, his inorganic arm will sort of just reach out to accept it while he's like still sort of between Gerran and Pinto, completely separate of him.
You grab it. She says, "This will lead you to what I'm sensing, a homing beacon of a kind. It will hopefully help you traverse the woods in the direction of... I don't have a specific location to send you to, and I figured that would be the best way to keep you all from getting lost."
Thank you for this guide.
Yes, and please prepare yourselves and come back alive.
If I can be honest, I would love to take a bath before we go.
Yes, of course. You have everything you need. Do what you must before setting off. Prepare yourselves for your journey and such. And basically, like, it is now between the four of you to, like, let's meet back up by X time or anything like that. Like, you are free to do what you need to there.
All right, so Lenora goes home to her mummies.
Okay. And you all basically split. Do you kind of say you're leaving that night? Do you want to leave the following morning? Like, what is the plan in terms of...
Yeah. Gerran will make a point to ask about the following morning.
Okay. So basically you're going to spend the rest of the day doing what you need to do and stocking up for your journeys. So that's why I asked you out of session what, if anything, you were going to purchase. So I do know that some folks are going over to Lenora's mother's shop
She's
for...
thrilled about
at some point, and that doesn't have to, the on or off screen. That's fine.
Not that we know that that's Lenora's mother's-in-law.
Well, yeah, sure. And then
At least Gerran doesn't probably. Maybe somebody else does.
True. But basically, you each will be able to acquire the things that you wanted to acquire, if you have the funds for it. Lenora does have 8 silver that y'all don't have. Haha. And then if there's ever
Which I
anything
did not take into consideration earlier. So.
if there is anything that y'all like really wanted that was out of your price range, and there was like a legitimate reason for it, like it wasn't like a hobby thing, it's like I want this armor or something like that, Mel would have helped you get a discount of some kind, but you all have that, I think, figured out, so you'll be able to have that at the end. One last thing as you all head out, Lenora heading to her house, Gerran, I believe, also heading back to his host family. Pinto, what are you doing? Where are you going?
Before saying goodbye to his parents, Pinto is going to his classroom and preparing an indefinite number of sub-plans.
Oh my god.
He has no idea how long. This is actually a very like anxiety producing situation for him.
Yeah.
This is the only unknown that really freaks him out. Like, who the hell is covering my class? Are they going to ruin everything I've done? So very meticulous sub plans, which again, for Pinto, like, his instruction is all over the place. It's like a weird form of Montessori where like the kids are making their own projects and just determining their own curriculum. So he's leaving for like a few days, like a phone book stack size of something.
Perfect. I think
And
it's
then
spending
with
a lot
5
of...
minutes left, he's saying goodbye to his mom and dad.
Okay, perfect. I think at this, like, there's something to say about, making the leap, so to speak, or taking that step to play in the games, is different than this, right? You're like, yeah, I'll play the games, I'll show my students, but there was still a safety net. And I think as you all kind of experienced this last night, perhaps everybody but Gerran, I don't know who has, if at all, left Roga before, are feeling almost that same, you realize now, that same hesitation, that same concern, that same moment of choice that you felt when you had the seed. And there is some comfort to be found for each of you that you've made this choice before in a way, and you are simply making it again. And that's helping you through whatever anxieties each of you are experiencing right now. There's one last thing that before you all step away, you all step away, but before you leave, Fitz, Mel does place a hand on your shoulder. As everybody sort of starts winding down the stairs, she'll look to you. The barrier, as I mentioned, changed the relationship we have with divine magic. But it did not remove it completely. Personally, I am curious. What happens when one makes room for something new? She smiles at you. Do let me know if you learn anything interesting.
I will. But I just worry if my parents are no longer fit to inter who we lose in the time away, who will take their place.
I promise to take care of this town. That is within my jurisdiction. And if a need arises, I will make sure that it is filled with respect. Trust in me.
I have unconditionally so far.
She goes from patting your shoulder to like kind of just touching your cheek with consent. She kind of pauses, making sure that you're okay with it. I'm so very glad you're with us, Fitz.
There is such a fear I feel that I do not understand.
There is much you will learn that will fill you with more questions and more fear. It's not the fact that we feel fear that is the concern. It's what we do with it. And Fitz, you have shown me time and time again in the short time you've been here in Roga. You make choices for good. And I think that is part of what you're beginning to see.
Fitz will take the twig and like swirl it into the knot that's in the back of his little man bun.
Oh, I like it.
And we'll sort of just nod and take in the moment, and Charlie Brown shuffle out the door with his large frame.
And I think the camera will linger on Mel. You head out the door and you walk down the steps. And Mel, there's a moment, this is just for us, just for the camera, just for the audience. There's a moment where she takes a step in your direction. Her mouth parts for a moment as if she wants to say one more thing. Then she closes it, kind of tightens her hand into like a nervous fist, turns back around, sits down at her desk, opens a drawer, looks down in it. That's where we're gonna end tonight. Honestly, y'all. A little bit early.
Oh, no.
A little bit early.
Great.